Hey guys, today I want to make a disc planner, and I'm sure there's probably other videos about this, but I want to show a couple of different ways of protecting a disc planner cover. I was just curious and I stumbled upon a listing on Amazon for a disc planner cover, and it was almost $20 just for a plain matte cover. It didn't say laminate or anything. It just said matte cover for a disc planner, and it was as small or smaller than the ones I usually make. So I took it upon myself to try to make a video to show you how to do this like a couple of different ways, so that in case you don't have an actual laminator or thermal laminator, you could still make one. So you probably also saw my video already about how to make an entire disc planner, but this is just the cover today. So I'm just gonna make like a kind of a gag cover. I'm using this to try to keep my text level. I'm sure I could use a ruler, but I like to make life difficult. So this is paper I got a while ago. I don't know if they still make it. I really don't like that J at all, but this is the font I have. So.
The rest of the
I know, but it's a weird J. I don't like it. Let's see. I used to be part of this Reddit group, which I don't use Reddit anymore because it's wild. I don't even do it. But it was like a parody account, because if you went to the writers Reddit, like the most common advice, like you could ask them any question, and the most common advice is just right. So you could ask them like, how do you feel about medieval fantasy horses, or how do you feel about politics in cyberpunk novels, and they would still say just right. So it became a running joke on this Reddit thread where you would ask a semi-serious question, and then 30 people would respond just right, because that's what they do on the real writing Reddit thread. So I bet somebody's looking for me to revoke my membership right now. I don't care. They didn't really give good advice. It was either just right or read Stephen King's On Writing, something like that. So everybody had a joke about it. It was so funny. And like they would make the funniest like crazy parody versions of that. So we're gonna make this in honor of that Reddit thread. So this is supposed to be like a cover to one of my other projects that I'm working on that is for writing using like crafting. So I'm going to use this some other time. If I can get the E on there right. Sorry guys, I'm not wearing glasses. There we go. I think it's funny. Okay, so we're gonna keep this one simple because I'm using a thermal laminator. Let me give you some advice. I used to make these. I used to make them out of actual recycled comic books, and I made some of them of custom art my husband made. So I used to make these all the time. But I will tell you, it is like the most like painful experience in some ways. It is terrible because if there's any dust or any, like I have 2 cats and 2 dogs and a husband, and they all like shed everywhere. So I'm in a constant battle to keep hair and dust off of my stuff. So it's kind of like a problem when your piece you're working on. Like it was challenging for resin, but to be honest, this was harder than keeping dust off my resin, because if you get dust on your resin, you can take like a little pokey stick and just push it into the resin and the dust disappears. This, it just lasts. It's eternal dust. So what you got to do, and once again, I wanted to show you a couple of different ways of doing this. This is the first method, which is thermal lamination. So I have a laminator. I had a more expensive one. It didn't work as well, so I went back to this one. And thermal paper, laminating paper, and whatever you want to put in there. But as I was stating, I got sidetracked, sorry. I had coffee, but you don't want to put too many layers on this. I try all kinds of covers, and most of the best ones are just plain. So what you do, you're going to turn it and push this towards the edge. And so you might ask me, Sandra, you probably ask me a lot of questions, but besides that, Sandra, why are you turning it the opposite way? Doesn't it make it more sense to put this one first, because that's the side of the book? Well, we need to leave some space here to actually punch holes into and make sure that it is completely sealed. So it's not the holes that it's not because the holes are difficult to punch. It is with a small disc planer hole punch, but the main issue is that this laminator, if you get a cheap one like me, you can't put that many layers in it. It'll start raising up and bubbling up. So I'm just going to run it through this way. And this one has a bad habit of just turning off in the middle of doing something. So usually I wait for it to be red, then I kind of pounce on it and try to finish what I'm doing as soon as I can. So this page is actually a little bit smaller than an A5 on purpose, because I want it to be a little, I want the rest of the page to be made of this lamination paper. So it's a little smaller than an A5, but I'm going to have my husband and my assistant cut cut the rest of this. And don't be a little bit worried because it's a little warply. And you can see where, because I put stickers on it, it's starting to bubble up. But I'm going to show you how I fix it. That's why I caution you, don't do a lot of layers with the thermal one. Like, it'd be better, honestly, if you printed something on paper or just use a plain printed sheet. Like, even a magazine cover or something like that would be good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut off some of this excess here. Not a lot, but just enough so it's not hard for him to work with it. And also, if you have a smaller thing like a memento or something you want to keep, put it in there with it so you can not waste lamination paper. So this is a little bit bigger than an A5, just to make sure there's enough room for the hole punch. So you don't want to touch this or disturb the seal at all. So it's a little bit bigger than an A5, but it's okay. And I'll try to measure it and give you the exact measurements and put it on the comments. But you don't want to break that seal, because then it won't be airtight. And if you get a cheap hole punch like this, you have to just be real careful that it's pushed all the way back, because it has gotten me many times that way, where I think I'm doing perfect. I got my little measurement, and then it just tricks me. So now I got it. It didn't break the seal. So now I flip it. Put it back in my little hole punch and make sure the measurement is right. Make sure I push it all the way back in. All right, there we go. So now it still kept the seal. And in case you're wondering how, again, I learned this is misery, complete misery, and figuring this stuff out. So let me reiterate, you want to use your machine as it was intended to be used. So read the instructions and don't hurt yourself. But I know what I'm doing because I've done this a bunch of times, so I'm just going to put this back through. Okay. Just to make sure that these little letters are sealed. And make sure it has a good seal. So you can see some of it's warply. But usually when you put it the opposite direction of what you put it in the first time, it takes care of the warpling. Okay, here's my gag cover. Pretty good, huh? I think it's funny. So it's hot. I have no like nerves in my fingers because I cook all the time because I'm from the South. So, but anyway, I can pick this up because it's fine. Be careful. You can read it there. So don't do anything crazy. Follow the instructions and be careful. But now that we're done with this, you might actually want to let it cool off. Sometimes I wave it or blow it just in case. I gotta trim it as close as I can to this little bubble so it looks half decent. I'm not messing with this one. I'm gonna go back here and do the same thing. And like I showed you in my last video, this is optional. I do not like injuring myself, so I cut the little things. You just take a little tiny piece off of it, just a little. Okay, so it's so dark now. Let me move this over just a little bit. I don't know, it's this weather, it's so weird. Like, it's still sunny, then it goes away. I don't know. I apologize for the lighting, it just changed randomly, but here's our finished product. So this is just right. I want you to see how pretty it is. See, now it's still sealed. The just right, the actual thing is sealed in there, so we didn't hurt our page at all. Pretty cool. So then let's pretend this is the cover we choose, which I don't know. You can always make it, well, no, it'll be upside down, but we'll see. Maybe I can switch them out. Let's see. Just right.
Who you switch it out?
Well, I have to make 2 other covers. So these are some dusty rings.
What has it?
The wood shavings. They sent my rings in a wood box, a wooden box, and you can't really see them on the purples. But let me put this for my short. Look at that. Whoa! Look at that. Look at that. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful.
Just right.
Okay, and the cool part about this is this paper was used. I had used it for a different set. So guess what? I counted as free. That was scraps. These letters, somebody gave them to me as a donation because I have a patron, not a real patron. I have a patron account, but I haven't linked to this yet. But a patron gave my cousin. Shout out to Monica for sponsoring most of my videos with stuff. So my cousin gave me these sparkly letters for no cost. So this was donated, and these are about like what? I get all these for like 18 bucks. I'm not counting them, but I'm just gonna say it's probably less than $1. So this cost me $1 and like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. No, apparently from what I see, about 10 minutes of my time, which it's still cheaper than buying the planner on Amazon. And it's mine. I made this. It's cute. It's not a weird matte finish. Like, it's durable and waterproof and cute and funny. And anytime I read this, it's gonna make me laugh and think about fun times. So this is the first part video, and I'll be back probably tomorrow because I haven't designed the other covers. And I'm going to show you the last 2 ways you can make this without having to use a laminator.